May I have your lordship's permission to commence the proceedings of the court?
Yes, please.
Honorable Judges of the Supreme Court, the Solicitor General of India, Additional Solicitor General, President and Office Bearer of the Supreme Court Bar Association, President and Office Bearer of the Supreme Court Advocates and Record Association, members of the bar, ladies and gentlemen. It's with immense sense of sadness that we are assembled today to condole the demise of Justice T.S. Dobia, Justice PRAKASH GUPTA, and senior advocates Mr. S.P. Gupta and Mr. BHASKAR P. Gupta. The bar is a unique public space. Rivers, rivulets, streams and springs of all hues and ranges mingle and produce a vibrant environment where bonhomie, camaraderie and intellectual sharing jingle. From the concepts and proper short warmth, we share larger concerns. These thoughts get embedded and nurture our courtroom debates. Thus it is that when we are assembled to pay homage to sisters and brothers in the bar, we not only grieve but recollect and regard their rich and distinct contributions. William Wordsworth comes to one's mind. He wrote, "Though nothing can bring back the Havara splendor in the grass or the glory in the flower, we will grieve not, rather find strength in what remains behind." Omar Khayyam not only said, "The moving finger writes when having writ moves on," but also, "For some we loved the loveliest and the best, that time and fate of all their vintage pressed." Justice Tejinder Singh Dobia left for the heavenly abode on 23rd of October 2021. Born in Lahore, and after partition, the family shifted to Shimla. Chandigarh was made the capital of Punjab. The family was among the first settlers of Chandigarh. His classmates in law included many reputed figures on the bench: Chief Justice Lal Gupta, Chief Justice M.S. Librahan, Justice Amar B. S. Gill, Justice S. Swaroop, Justice Amarjit Chaudhary, and Justice M.L. Shingal. Having enrolled in 1962 as an advocate in Chandigarh, began his illustrious career in the Punjab High Court. It is said that due to his sense of humor and anecdotal acumen, he was affectionately called the Birbal of the bar. I gather from his son, I.P. Dobia, a leading lawyer in the Punjab bar, that Justice Dobia was blessed with a photographic memory, with provisions of law and citations readily being shared. Elevated in 1994 as judge of the Punjab and Haryana High Court, transferred thereafter to Madhya Pradesh, where he served for a period of 4 years, and later transferred to the High Court of Jammu and Kashmir. During his 9 years of tenure as the High Court judge, he delivered a large number of judgments and decided volumes of cases in all fields of law, which occupy the law reports. When the High Court of Jammu and Kashmir, he co-authored a judgment elevating the gender justice dimension by opening up to the local women marrying outside Jammu and Kashmir the right to their ancestral property. Very important development in the field of gender justice. Owing to his delivery of humane justice and with piety, the bar and the litigants in the Jammu and Kashmir High Court affectionately called Justice Dobia by the poor man's judge. Justice Dobia was also a prolific writer who written more than 52 books and commentaries on law ranging from service law, election law to environment law, and many of them prescribed as textbooks. In addition, he wrote the commentaries on local laws of Punjab and Haryana and published the Punjab Local Acts and the Haryana Local Act, which ran into 17 volumes. He was the founder and editor of Punjab legal reports and statutes and textbooks in university. After debating office as justice on 13th of February 2003, Justice Dobia shifted to New Delhi and started practicing in the Supreme Court from 2003 onwards, and it was the second innings of the bar. The sixth edition of the Law of Election petitions released in August 2021. His third edition of the book was published 70 years ago in 1945. Just before his demise, he was working on the revised edition of the Law of Environment Protection. All these books have been well received by the legal fraternity. Gifted to the religious disposition, Justice Tejinder Singh Dobia said about the life of Sri Guru Nanak Dev and the life history of Bhagat Singh Guru Granth Sahib Dev. This part of nickname, he also wrote the detailed life history of the 9th Guru Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. At the head of the Dobia Foundation, he undertook the works of philanthropy and donated literally without fanfare and great humility. Yes, though he was also a president of the Rotary Club Midtown Chandigarh, and during his tenure organized many philanthropic events, as well as blood donation camps. He himself was a regular blood donor. He is survived by his wife, Srimati Raghuveer Kaur, two sons, Inderpal Singh Dobia, with the former Additional Advocate General Punjab, and Manpreet Singh Dobia, Advocate Supreme Court of India, and their spouses, Reva and Bunny, and two grandchildren, Amiya Dobia, a law graduate from Durham University in the UK, and Gurfateh Singh Dobia, who reads law at the Punjab University, Chandigarh. Justice Ramprakash Gupta earned his LLB degree from University of Delhi, and following the footsteps of his father, late Shri Kriparam Agarwal, a distinguished lawyer, he enrolled as an advocate at the Bar Council of Punjab. He started practice in his father's office and leading advocate. Justice Gupta belonged to the fraternity of those who represented the lower ranks of judicial service. He cleared the judicial service examination in 1964 in the United States of Punjab. He served when he commenced judicial career as subordinate judge in 1968, and between 1964 to 1994, a long span of 30 years of service, he has served in various capacities in administration of justice. On 10th of November 1994, Justice Gupta was elevated additional judge of the Delhi High Court, soon served as the judge in the directors of Calcutta and Madhya Pradesh. After, as a matter of record, that he valued integrity in the office a non-negotiable value, was very particular in ensuring that no one ever raises a finger with impartiality. His reputation for impartiality, encouragement of younger members of the bar, and the keenness for details to do complete justice are amply recorded. He was a strict vegetarian, teetotaler, and his exploits in athletics brought many medals to his school and colleges. In his youth, Justice Gupta was a keen athlete and hockey player. Gupta was a noble soul, an upright judge, and a warm human being with integrity as his bedrock. His life could be summed up in few words: simple, virtuous, generous, and affable. His judgment of events, people, and circumstances were never influenced or clouded by his personal dislikes or preferences. Justice Gupta loved traveling too, which he continued to undertake till his demise. He has traveled the length and breadth of India, and he was a born naturalist, and the gardening was a hobby. Justice Gupta left for the heavenly abode on 1st of January 2022 at the age of 84 years. He is survived by his wife, Ms. Savita Gupta, his daughter, Ms. Anita Agarwal, a qualified advocate, currently a homemaker, his son-in-law, Dr. Satish Kumar Agarwal, Chairman, Department of Pediatric Surgery. The contributions of a chartered high court to administration of justice are a treasure house of jurisprudence. The life and times of a long line of illustrious judges, ably and creatively assisted by members of the bar with erudition and deep commitment to the cause of justice, chronicles of inspiration, besides the doors and windows of the evolutionary stories of Indian law. I will not be overstating if I consider late Sri S.P. Gupta as one of the tall figures of the bar and as one of the great pillars of a chartered high court, namely the High Court of Allahabad. He has several outstanding credits. Born in 1920s in a traditional business family, to enter the legal profession was one. After schooling at Moradabad, he went to Allahabad University, from where he received his Bachelor of Arts degree, and then to Bareilly College, from where he received his, and then from Moradabad district, where he commenced his practice, migrated to Allahabad in 1960. He joined the chambers Sri Bhagavan Das Gupta, and upon the later elevation, the chambers of senior advocate Sri S.C. Khare. Within a span of 10 years, he became a leading written constitutional lawyer in his own right. His large practice included a specialization in the field of taxation, central access, labor, service, civil, and criminal law. In short, he was a versatile all-rounder, known for his prowess and expertise in all branches of law. After designation in the year 1978, his rise in the bar was meteoric, and he earned the unique distinction of being called upon to adorn the office of Advocate General. The case of Justice Satish Chandra, whom he represented, is a landmark case where the Supreme Court endorsed Sri S.V. Gupta's submission that a High Court judge occupy the high constitutional position, and his resignation is not subject to acceptance by any authority or employer, and the judge remains free to withdraw his resignation any time before the effective date. He used to enjoy a large practice in Allahabad High Court and the Supreme Court in helping many needy and deserving clients foregoing his professional fees. He is remembered in the bar, by the bar and judiciary in the nation, in particular, for his singular and stellar contribution to the cause of independence of the judiciary in what has come to be known as the first judge's case, S.P. Gupta vs. Union of India. He filed the first writ petition in the country in his personal capacity as a lawyer and fought the case as a crusader for upholding the independence of the judiciary. The judgment has several precedental dimensions, notably on locus standi in the country's constitutional jurisprudence. Justice D.A. noted in the opening paragraph of the judgment that the first salvo was first filed by S.P. Gupta. He actively involved himself again in 1993 in the second judge's case. I mean, a clerical or a ministerial mistake led to a deletion or subordination of his name in the cause title of the first judge's case. The entire bench corrected the error in due recognition of his great contribution to the case. Instances of some of the other cases in S.P. Gupta appeared before the Supreme Court, resulting in memorable contribution to legal jurisprudence or legion. I wish to state only a few of them. In the case of J.P. Kulshrestha, the basic principles of autonomous functioning of educational institutions and basic norms which should govern the educational selection committee for appointment of teachers in university. Then the UP Forest Corporation Vijay Bahadur, the court held that while awarding governmental contract, the government always has the right to reject even the highest bid in a public auction if with good reason to suspect that there is some illicit intent behind the bidder and award the contract to a public sector corporation. In the University of Allahabad with Amit Chandra Tripathi, again the court upheld the right of a university to uphold an entrance test for making admission to degree courses. In Rafiquddin, 1987 Supplement SCC 401, the court, speaking through Justice Venkatramaya, laid on the primary rules which must govern issues of appointments, promotions, and seniority in our subordinate judiciary. The last few years, S.P. Gupta, in his capacity as Advocate General of UP, under the full bench, the Honorable Justice Chandrachud, when he was Lordship of the Chief Judge of Allahabad High Court. His last appearance in the Supreme Court were in 2013, and he continued to be looked upon by the entire bar and bench of the High Court as a guiding light and elder statesman whenever any crisis arose and the institution of the High Court found itself at a crossroads. On all such occasions, it is recorded that S.P. Gupta raised his voice to steer the court and his fraternity on the path of high values and unshakable professionality. Sri Gupta was a staunch believer in the observance of strict discipline and high standards of the bar by lawyers. He was firmly set against the malady of lawyers going on strike, which had started raising its ugly head in the state of UP in the early 1980s, one protected the other. S.P. Gupta, along with some right-minded and sober colleagues, founded a separate bar association in Allahabad High Court with the name of Advocates Association. High Court for several years, he remained the unanimously elected unopposed president of the Advocates Association. In 2017, his wife, Srimati Sashi Gupta, became seriously unwell. Then suddenly, he too almost telepathically became medically grounded. So much so that twice over, both he and his wife were hospitalized simultaneously. In 2017, Srimati Sashi Gupta succumbed to her illness in the hospital. Sri Gupta returned to his hometown Allahabad and continued to live alone in a large mansion-like house. Nonetheless, he continued to surround himself with various young lawyers, almost the age of his grandsons, and they accompanied with their help. He kept himself fully abreast of the court events, the legal news, and found whatever mirth and solace he could still find for himself. He had a great passion for listening to Indian classical music, playing bridge and gardening. Before his death of his wife, the large garden in his house in Allahabad used to be passionately looked after by his wife only. It had won many awards for being a best-kept garden. He was also a deeply religious man who kept himself occupied with many spiritual pursuits and philanthropic activities. He ran a personal charitable trust and instituted many awards for outstanding lawsuits in the Allahabad University from his own funds. In March 2022, he suffered a serious brain stroke which left him bedridden for several weeks. Just when he was recovering on 11 September 2022, he suffered another brain stroke which left him physically paralyzed, partially paralyzed. He stayed in deep discomfort until 15 January 2022, where he finally succumbed to the stroke after prolonged illness in Allahabad. Sri BHASKAR Prasad Gupta belongs to an illustrious family from the village of Kaligacha in the Komili district of undivided Bengal, now in Bangladesh. Both his grandfather and his father were part of a legal fraternity, one at the bar and the other in the judicial services. His schooling in St. Xavier's School in Calcutta and graduation's first-class honors in mathematics from St. Xavier's College in Calcutta are said to be indelible part of his life. His connection with the alma mater till the end and served for many years with distinction on the governing body of the school and college. His elder brother was Dipankar Prasad Gupta, an eminent barrister and senior advocate who was Advocate General of West Bengal and later Solicitor General of India. By the time he completed his graduation, his elder brother had already been called to the bar from Lincoln's Inn and began his practice in the Calcutta High Court. A career in law for Mr. Bhaskar Gupta was thus a natural call. He read law at the University College of London and obtained his LLB degree from London University. He commenced his practice in the Calcutta High Court after being called to the bar from Lincoln's in 1964. He joined the chambers of Dr. Shankar Ghosh, an eminent lawyer, then practicing in the Calcutta bar, who later shifted his practice to the Supreme Court and served as a cabinet minister in West Bengal in the central government. He developed his practice mostly in the civil side, appearing in civil, commercial, tax, and constitutional matters too. Soon he was considered an expert in the writ jurisdiction. Sri BHASKAR Gupta was designated a senior advocate by the Calcutta High Court in 1987. Since 1998, he has principally practiced in Supreme Court of India till the lockdown of 2020. He remained in touch with his parent High Court and played an active role in the 150th year celebration of the High Court. He was instrumental in the publication of the excellent commemorative volume that was published on that occasion. Sri BHASKAR V. Gupta had appeared in many notable cases in Supreme Court, of which include the case involving the provision of the Securities Contract Regulation Act. He mentored many lawyers in his own chambers, and his juniors include Justice Adojit Mitra, retired judge of the Calcutta High Court, Justice Pratik Jalan, judge of the Delhi High Court, and Justice Rajshekhar Manta, the Calcutta High Court, who has shared with me fond memories of his chamber days with Bhaskar Ji and senior advocates Abhijit Chatterjee and Tilak Kumar Bose. To his juniors, he emphasized the need to draft pleading precisely and present a case concisely and to present themselves in courtroom with impeccable court manner. I too have fond memories of many cases which we worked together. His amiable, gentle disposition but gentle persuasiveness was always inspiring and worthy of emulation. He had a wide range of interests, including cricket, and had a passion for Indian classical music and Bengali music. He was an active member of the Calcutta's various clubs and served as president of the Calcutta Club. He was a highly accomplished public speaker and could speak on diverse subjects. He read voraciously beyond law. He was a man of scholarly and spiritual bent of mind. He was closely associated with the Chaitanya Mission and the Ramakrishna Math Mission. He was a member of the Committee for Restoration and Maintenance of Swami Vivekananda's ancestral home in Kolkata and with his activities after it opened as an institution. He was also closely associated with the branch of Ramakrishna Math in New Delhi. His wife, Ruby Gupta, passed away several years back, was a well-known exponent of Bengali and Sanskrit music. In her memory, he left a significant part of his assets in the Thakurpur Cancer Research Center, where she was seated in the last days. Even though he had a powerful intellect and achieved professional and social success in life, his simple and austere upbringing stayed with him till the end. His work ethic was flawless, and he approached all aspects of his life with absolute integrity and sincerity. He bore adversity with patience and dignity and always reached out to family and friends at their time of need. He was deeply interested in his roots. 5 years back, he journeyed back to Comilla town in Bangladesh to preserve the ancestral home where the family had abandoned at the time of partition. As he had been very young when the partition took place, he had no clear recollection of the place. With the help of pointers gathered from family members, he was able to find it. He brought back photographs of the place and prepared a paper on his experience, which is circulated among his family members. It is now a treasured document for his family members. He is survived by his two sons, Radeep and Subodhi. Radeep is an investment banker in London, UK, now working in artificial intelligence. Subodhi is a physicist and a professor at the University of Washington, Seattle, USA. He leaves behind 4 grandchildren, Elena, Leonard, Sarah, and Eva, who fondly called him Dada. On his death, the statesman with which the newspaper he had a close association described him as follows, I quote, "He combined great courtcraft with wry wit and old word geniality." I joined the Honorable Chief Justice, Honorable Judges of the Supreme Court, and members of the bar in conveying heartfelt condolences to the beloved sons and grandchildren. I also joined the Honorable Chief Justice and Honorable Judge of the Supreme Court, members of the bar, in conveying my heartfelt condolences to all the family members of Honorable Justice T. ADODIA, Justice PRAKASH GUPTA, and Mr. S.P. Gupta.
Justice U.U. Lalit, Chief Justice of India, Honorable Judges of this Court, Shri R. Venkatramani, London Attorney General for India, law officers of this court, members of the family of Justice T.S. Dobia, Mr. Bhaskar Prasad Gupta, Shri Ram Prakash Gupta, late Shri S.P. Gupta, members of the Executive Committee of the SCBA, members of the Executive Committee of SCORA, members of the bar, ladies and gentlemen. Occasionally, history produces personalities, the impact of whose lives stays long beyond their physical demise. We have assembled here to honor the everlasting legacy left behind by Justice Tejinder Singh Dwabia, Shri Justice Ram Prakash Gupta, Mr. S.P. Gupta, and Mr. Bhaskar Prasad Gupta. Justice Dwabia was born on 14 February 1941. His father, Shri Harvansh Singh Dwabia, was a lawyer. His family had shifted to Shimla in 1947 and thereafter moved to Chandigarh in 53. They were amongst the first settlers of Chandigarh. In his early years, he did his schooling at Senior Model School in Sector 6 and was amongst the first batch of pass-outs, along with Justice Jawaharlal Gupta and Congress leader Ambika Soni. He pursued law at Punjab University, Chandigarh. During his tenure as a judge, he worked tirelessly and disposed of large number of cases on the civil, criminal, constitutional side. He delivered many landmark judgments, among them is the celebrated with Justice V.K. Jhanji and Justice Muzaffar Jan pertaining to female residents of Jammu and Kashmir marrying outside and losing all benefits of property and employment. The bench declared that such a law is unconstitutional and Justice Dwabia concurred with the majority opinion. This paved the way for females to get considerable confidence to fight for their rights. A large number of established lawyers in the bar in Jammu and Kashmir owe their rise in the bar to the guidance they received from Justice Dwabia during their formative years in the profession. He left an indelible mark on the bench because of his vast knowledge of law, sharp understanding, and quick disposal, and would handle complex issues with matters of ease. Justice Dwabia, after his retirement, started his practice in Supreme Court and remained active all his life. He represented the state of Punjab and many government institutions and corporations with considerable success and also much sought after arbitrator. He outshined many of his contemporaries in the profession. Justice Dwabia was academically driven and has authored more than 50 books and commentaries on various subjects of law, prominent among them being environmental laws, election laws, service laws, constitutional law. Justice Dwabia is also credited with editing Punjab Local Acts in 17 volumes and Haryana Local Acts in 14 volumes. Justice Dwabia is fondly remembered by the members of the bar for his great qualities of head and heart. He was widely respected for his wit, humor, and graceful manners. He was known for his constant guidance and help to the budding lawyers to achieve excellence in the profession. He was a person of great intellect and was known for his pleasant behavior and very good relations with members of the bar across both wings of Jammu and Kashmir High Court. Justice Dwabia left for his heavenly abode on 20th December 2021 after suffering a cardiac arrest. He survived his wife, Srimati Raghveer Kaur, his son Tinderpal Dwabia, and Manpreet Singh Dwabia. Justice Ram Prakash Gupta was born on 1st of December 1937. In his early years, he did his matriculation from high school in Gurgaon and obtained his BA Honours English from Punjab University in 1957. He was an athlete, hockey player, and the captain of his college hockey team. He brought many medals to both his school and college and took pride in displaying his team photos and trophies. He enrolled as an advocate of the Bar Council of Punjab and started his practice in his father's chamber. During this time in 1964, he also cleared the judicial service examination in the joint state Punjab. In November 1965, he joined the Punjab Public Service Commission as subordinate judge cum registrar at Narnaul, and after 6 months he was posted at Mahendragarh. Justice Gupta was assigned to Haryana Judicial Service in 1967 when the state of Haryana was carved out. He was transferred to Hisar in 68 where he discharged his duties as Judicial Magistrate First Class and Civil Judge First Class. He joined the Delhi Judicial Service as subordinate judge cum registrar in 69 and then adjourned in 1971. He worked as a sub-judge first class, additional then controller, additional chief metropolitan magistrate, presiding judge labor court, chief metropolitan magistrate till 24 March 1979. Subsequently, in March 79, he was appointed as additional districts and session judge Delhi. He also discharged duties as special judge to try offences under the Prevention of Corruption Act, narcotics cases and cases under TADA. After retirement, He started his practice as a senior advocate. After his retirement from the High Court, he started his practice as a senior advocate before the Supreme Court of India. He even presided over Lok Adalats in Delhi High Court and in permanent Lok Adalat for the electricity bill disputes. Justice Gupta was a man of many virtues and was known to be affable, simple, gracious, and generous. His trait of honesty and integrity is one personality trait that is remembered by everyone who ever interacted with him. His judgment of people and circumstances was never influenced by his personal preferences. He strictly believed in the principle of exclusivity and aloofness for a judge and limited his social interactions with people who were not known to him personally. Justice Gupta was a strict vegetarian and a teetotaler. He was very much in tune with the nature and enjoyed gardening. Justice Gupta left for his heavenly abode on 1st of January 2022 at the age of 84. He is survived by his wife, Mrs. Savita Gupta, his daughter, Anita Agarwal, and homemaker, his son-in-law, Dr. Satish Kumar Agarwal, Chairman, Department of Pediatric Surgery, Gangaram, his son C. Anup Kumar Gupta, his daughter-in-law, Rakhi, gynecologist at Max Hospital, and his grandchildren. Mr. S.P. Gupta was born in a traditional business family in the city of Moradabad in UP, and he was the second child amongst 9 brothers and 4 sisters. After schooling at Moradabad, he went to Allahabad University from where he received his Bachelor of Art degree and then to Bareilly College from where he received his Bachelor of Laws degree. He started practice in 1951 at the Moradabad District Court, mainly on the criminal side, and joined the chambers of the leading criminal lawyer Shri Raj Bahadur Pandey. He migrated to Allahabad in 1960 with his wife and his son Sunil Gupta, who was 2 years old at that time. Starting in 1960 with very humble beginning and no family backing whatsoever in the High Court, he had become within 10 years by 1970 a leading writ and a constitutional lawyer in his own right. His large practice included specialization in the fields of taxation, central exercise, labor, service, civil and criminal law. In short, he was a versatile all-rounder known for his prowess and expertise in all branches of law. In 1978, he was designated by the High Court as a senior advocate. He earned the love and respect of the members of the bar because of his legal acumen and straightforward and soft-spoken demeanor. He is one of the most meritorious advocates and was known as a legal eagle and a constitutional expert. He argued extensively in the Supreme Court and was well versed in civil matters in the Allahabad High Court. He served twice as Advocate General of Punjab, firstly in the 1990 and then at the age of 83 in the early 2010. He gave 60 years of his life to this profession and worked tirelessly for the development of Indian jurisprudence. He is famously known for being the lead petitioner in the historical first judge's case of 1981, that is S.P. Gupta, in which Supreme Court held that the opinion of the Chief Justice does not have primacy over that of the executive when it comes to appointment. He played a key role in the case that paved the way for judicial independence that consequently resulted into the creation of the collegium system for appointment of judges. This also marks the advent of the public interest litigation and the widening of locus standi in the country's constitutional jurisprudence. Justice D.A. Desai noted in the opening paragraph of his judgment that when the law minister issued the infamous circular of 18th March 1981, which aimed at undermining the higher judiciary, the first salvo was fired by Mr. S.P. Gupta, advocate, who filed a petition in the Allahabad High Court for challenging the circular. He used to enjoy a large practice in Allahabad High Court and appeared regularly also before the Supreme Court. In particular, on several occasions, he would come all the way to Delhi from Allahabad, not only foregoing his professional fees, but also incurring expenses out of his own pocket to represent clients whom he found to be honest and upright, and at the same time financially not so resourceful to afford a Supreme Court litigation. Mr. S.P. Gupta had not been keeping well and had been admitted to a hospital in Prayagraj before he breathed his last. He left for his heavenly abode on 15th of January 22 at the age of 93. Survived by his son, Mr. Sunil Gupta, a senior advocate practicing in this court, daughter-in-law Anjana Gupta, advocate of Supreme Court, his daughter Shrimati Anurima Parolia, businesswoman, son-in-law Krishna Parolia, his granddaughters Priya Arora, Nilanjana Gupta, and grandson Manvendra Gupta. Mr. Bhaskar Gupta was born in Kolkata on 11th of November 1940 to a family with deep roots in the legal world. His father, Shri Digendranath Gupta, practiced in the Mufassal courts in Bengal. His father, Shri Sudhir Chandra Datta Gupta, was an officer in the Bengal Judicial Service who retired as a district judge in Howrah, in West Bengal, after holding various posts as judicial officer of undivided Bengal. His elder brother, Shri Dipankar Prasad Gupta, an eminent barrister and senior advocate, was the Advocate General of West Bengal and Solicitor General of India. In his early years, Mr. Bhaskar Gupta studied at St. Xavier School, Kolkata, and went to graduate with honors in mathematics from the St. Xavier's College. He obtained his LLB degree from London University and was called to the bar from Lincoln's Inn in 1964. He soon, after coming back to India, he soon gained expertise in civil, commercial, and constitutional matters. In the emergency years and later, he appeared for the Statesman newspaper in many matters relating to freedom of press. He understood that, and while arguing, he made sure that his submissions were always to the point. He was a man of impeccable character and unimpeachable integrity. He had exceptional skills in drafting and settling of pleadings. He would preserve his settled drafts in matters involving important questions of law in bound volumes for the benefit of his juniors and advise them to use the bulletin and Leake and Atkins court forms as models of draft. He lived by the advice given by late P.P. Jinwala, barrister-in-law and senior advocate, Calcutta High Court, that lawyers should use simple language that could be understood by laymen. He advised his juniors that the legal opinions preferred for his clients should not be superfluous, instead should be comprehensible. From 1998, he shifted his practice to the Supreme Court and continued to be active till COVID-19 lockdown of 2020. He believed in hard work and complete devotion to law. His heart always remained in the Calcutta High Court, where he played an active role in the 150th year celebration of the High Court and was instrumental in publication of the excellent commemorative volume that was published on that occasion. He was active member of Calcutta's various clubs and served as president of Calcutta Club. Mr. Bhaskar Gupta's academic inclination was evidenced in his submissions on the origin and scope of writ of certiorari, wherein he would cite passages from Blackstone's commentaries on the laws of England. He would always consult Halsbury's Laws of England on any complex question of law and advised his juniors to do the same. Mr. Bhaskar Gupta extensively contributed columns to the Statesman newspaper, was also on the board for a while. He was a highly accomplished public speaker on diverse subjects and participated in the Statesman debate and the awards for rural reporting that accompanied it. In their obituary to him on his death, they ran the article under the title, Bhaskar Gupta, a life well lived. He was also a member of the Indian Advisory Board of the ANZ Gringley's Bank for about 10 years. He attended various international conferences and participated in debates and seminars as a member of the several law associations, both Indian and international, and one of the University of Southern California, Los Angeles, on euthanasia. He was also a board member of East India Pharmaceutical Limited. He was a man with varied interests, including cricket, which he played in his youth and even as a young lawyer. He was also interested in Indian classical music. He was very much in touch with his spiritual side and a deep knowledge of writings of Swamiji and other eminent monks of Ramakrishna Mutt and Mission. He was a member of the Committee for Restoration and Maintenance of Swami Vivekananda's ancestral home in Kolkata and actively participated in the events when it opened as an institution. He was a cricketer and avid cricket enthusiast. He would bat well and bowl leg spin and participated in the annual cricket matches that were organized by the bar at Eden Garden, Kolkata. Later, when he was too senior to bowl, he started keeping wickets. His son Rajdeep preferred watching cricket matches and discussing cricket endlessly with his father while growing up. He liked to keep fit by going on long walks. In those days, his mentor, Dr. Ghosh, had chambers in Comac Street and Central Calcutta, and he stayed in South Calcutta and New Alipur at a distance of approximately 8 kilometers. Mr. Bhaskar Gupta would walk all the way to his chambers and back every day. Once he was taken for a site inspection at the Bandel Thermal Power Plant, then the largest power station in West Bengal. Where he reached the site, he got off the car and set off on a walk around the perimeter of the plant with the clients panting behind him. Mr. Bhaskar Gupta was very fond of traveling. He traveled with his family whenever he could on court breaks across the country. He was particularly fond of the mountains. Later, when his elder son settled in the UK and later in Italy, his younger son settled in the USA, he spent his court breaks with them. On these trips, he made it a point to visit the local Ramakrishna Mission or Vedanta Society. He was so inspired by the monk who ran the Los Angeles Center that he chose him as his spiritual guru and was initiated into the order under his guidance. He had a wonderful sense of humor both in court and out of it. When told of the new concept of barristers taking door tenancies, he wanted to know whether these barristers were called to the door as opposed to being called to the bar. He was a family man and loved spending quality time with them. His wife, Mrs. Ruby Gupta, who passed away several years ago, was a well-known exponent of Bengali and Sanskrit music. He is survived by two sons, Rajdeep, who is an investment banker in London with a special interest in artificial intelligence, and Subhodeep, a physicist and a professor at the University of Washington at Seattle, USA, and his daughter-in-laws and four grandchildren who fondly called him Dada. He left for his heavenly abode on 23rd January 22. After suffering from post-COVID complication, he breathed his last in Kolkata at the age of 81 years. As George Bernard Shaw once said, life levels all men, death reveals the eminent. I, on behalf of the Supreme Court Bar Association, offer my heartfelt condolences to the members of the family of late Shri Tejinder Singh Doabia, Justice Ram Prakash Gupta, Mr. S.P. Gupta, and Mr. Bhaskar Prasad Gupta. May their souls rest in divine peace.
My illustrious brother and sister judges, Learned Attorney General Shri R. Venkatramani, Learned Solicitor General Shri Tushar Mehta, Learned Law Officers Shri Vikas Singh, President Supreme Court Bar Association, Shri Manoj Kumar Mishra, President Supreme Court Advocates on Record Association, members of the bar, family members of Shri T.S. Doabia, late Shri Ram Prakash Gupta, late Shri S.P. Gupta, and late Shri BHASKAR Prasad Gupta, who are present here and who have joined online, ladies and gentlemen. We have assembled here this afternoon with a profound sense of grief to pay homage to Shri T.S. Doabia, late Shri Ram Prakash Gupta, late Shri S.P. Gupta, and late Shri BHASKAR Prasad Gupta, distinguished members of the legal fraternity who have made significant contributions in the field of law. Shri Tejinder Singh Doabia was born on 14th of February 1941 in Lahore, belonged to a family of one of the original settlers of Chandigarh, completed his graduation from Government College Chandigarh and thereafter obtained degree in law from Punjab University, Chandigarh. In 1962, he enrolled as an advocate at Chandigarh and subsequently began his legal career in the High Court of Punjab and Haryana at Chandigarh. On 14th of February 1994, he was elevated as judge of the High Court of Punjab and Haryana. He was subsequently transferred to the High Court of Madhya Pradesh. Later, he was transferred to High Court of Jammu and Kashmir and assumed charge on 11th of December 1997. He demitted the office on 13th of February 2003. While being on the bench of the High Court of Jammu and Kashmir, he had co-authored a judgment delivered in the case of State of Jammu and Kashmir versus Dr. Sushila Sahani, granting local women marrying outside Jammu and Kashmir rights to their ancestral property. He was a prolific writer and had written more than 50 books and commentaries on law. He was an expert in the field of municipal law and had authored commentaries on Punjab Municipal Act, Avenue Municipal Act, under Cooperative Societies Act, Law of Rent Restriction, the Punjab Village Common Land Act, the Punjab Land Revenue Act, the Law of Excise in Punjab and Haryana, the Northern India Canal and Drainage Act. He even wrote the commentaries on all the local acts of Punjab and Haryana and published the Punjab Local Acts and Haryana Local Acts, running into 17 volumes each. He was the founder, editor of the legal journal, Punjab Legal Reports and Statutes. Post his retirement, he shifted to New Delhi and started his practice in the Supreme Court in the year 2003. On 14th of August 2003, he was designated as a senior advocate by the Supreme Court of India. He appeared before the Supreme Court of India in numerous cases of importance. During this period, he authored a number of books, which had first been authored by his late father, Sardar H.S. Doabia. He revised the law of services and dismissals, running into 2 volumes, each with 1100 pages, published by the international publishing house LexisNexis, and also the law of elections and election petitions, which was equally voluminous. The 4th edition of this book had preface written by the then Chief Justice of India, Justice P. Satasivam. The 1st edition of the book, Law of Election and Election Petitions, was published 75 years ago in 1945, and the 6th edition was released in August 2021. It also written commentaries on the law of environment and environment protection, running into 2 volumes published by LexisNexis. Shortly before he breathed his last, he was working on the revised edition of Law of Environment and Environment Protection. Gifted with religious disposition, he wrote on the life of Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji and life history of Bhagats in Guru Granth Sahib Ji, which was part of Nitnem. He also wrote a detailed life history of the 9th Guru, Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. Being the head of the Doabia Foundation, he undertook various philanthropic works and gave donations without fanfare and with great humility. He left for heavenly abode on 20th of December 2021 and is survived by his wife, Srimati Raghbir Kaur, sons, Sri Inderpal Singh Doabia, who is former Additional Advocate General Punjab, and Sri Manpreet Singh Doabia, who is an advocate in the Supreme Court of India, and their families. Sri PRAKASH Gupta was born on 1st of December 1937. He did his graduation in BA Honours from Punjab University in the year 1957. Following the footsteps of his father, a distinguished lawyer, he obtained his degree in law from Delhi University in the year 1959 and proficiency in law in the year 1960. He enrolled as an advocate of the Bar Council of Punjab and started his practice in the office of his father, who was a leading advocate on civil side in Gurgaon and Palwal. While he was practicing, he cleared the Judicial Services examination in the year 1964 in the Joint Punjab State. Joined in the year 1965 as subordinate judge cum registrar. In the year 1967, when state of Haryana was carved out, he was assigned to Haryana Judicial Services. In the year 1969, he joined Delhi Judicial Services as subordinate judge cum registrar and was absorbed therein in the year 1971. He served as the sub-judge first class, additional rent controller, additional chief metropolitan magistrate, presiding judge labor court, and chief metropolitan magistrate till 24th of March 1979. In March 79, he was appointed as the additional district and sessions judge. He also discharged duties as a special judge to try offences under the Prevention of Corruption Act and Narcotics and TADA Act. He was elevated as an additional judge of the High Court of Delhi on 10th of November 1994. Soon thereafter, he was transferred to the High Court of Calcutta on 16th of December 1994 and was appointed permanent judge of Calcutta High Court on 21st of December 1995. He was transferred to the High Court of Madhya Pradesh on 6th of May 1996. He demitted the office on 30th of November 1999. Started his practice before the Supreme Court and was designated as senior advocate by the Supreme Court on 7th of March 2000. He was simple, virtuous, generous, and affable. He was a strict vegetarian and a teetotaler. During his initial days, he was a keen athlete and brought many medals to his school and college. He was a hockey player and even captained his college team. He was a deeply religious man and had immense faith in destiny. He strictly practiced the principle of exclusivity and aloofness so as not to cloud his role as a judge in any way. His honesty and integrity is remembered by anybody who ever interacted with him. He loved traveling and traveled the length and breadth of India. There was hardly a state which he had not visited. He was a nature lover, and winters saw him making multiple visits to the various nurseries to purchase potted plants of a wide variety of flowers. He left for heavenly abode on 1st of January of this year and is survived by his wife, Srimati Savita Gupta, daughter Sri Anita Agarwal, son Sri Anup Kumar Gupta, who is a senior chartered accountant, and their families. Sri S.P. Gupta was born on 14th of March 1929 at Moradabad. He obtained his bachelor's degree from Allahabad University and went on to earn degree in law from Bareilly College. Started his practice in 1951 in the district court at Moradabad and joined the chambers of Raj Bahadur Pandey, leading lawyer on criminal side. After 9 years of practice at the district level, he shifted base to Allahabad in the year 1960 and joined the chambers of Shri Bhagwan Das Gupta and later on the chambers of writ specialist Shri S.C. Khare, senior advocate. With his hard work and grit, he went on to become one of the leading writ and constitutional lawyers. Within a span of 10 years, he practiced in diverse fields of law, including specialization in taxation, central excise, labor, service, civil, and criminal law. He was a versatile all-rounder, known for his prowess and expertise in almost all branches of law. Acknowledging his merit, the High Court designated him as a senior advocate in the year 1978. One of the most significant constitutional cases argued by him in the High Court of Allahabad was 1978 case of Justice Satish Chandra, who had submitted resignation from the post of High Court judge with effect from a future date and subsequently withdrew his resignation well before that date. A judge's right to withdraw his resignation was challenged by a group of lawyers. This case was finally decided by a constitutional bench of BHASKAR, which was reported as Union of India versus Gopal Chandra Mishra. It was accepted that a High Court judge occupies a high constitutional position and his resignation is not subject to acceptance by any authority or employer, and that the judge remains free to withdraw his resignation at any time before the effective date. He served twice as the Advocate General of Uttar Pradesh, first in the year 1990s and later in 2010. He practiced extensively in the High Court of Allahabad and also appeared regularly before the Supreme Court. He had a heart for those clients whom he found to be honest, upright, and at the same time financially not so resourceful so as to afford litigation before the Supreme Court. And he would often forego his professional fees as well as other expenses incurred in such cases. He is remembered by the bar, the judiciary, and the nation in particular for his singular and stellar contribution to the cause of independence of judiciary in the form of the historic case, the first judge's case, S.P. Gupta versus Union of India. He filed the first writ petition in the country in his personal capacity as a lawyer and fought the case as a crusader for upholding the dignity and majesty of our superior courts in the matter of appointment and transfer of High Court to Supreme Court judges, High Court and judges. The case was heard and decided by a 7-judges constitution bench through a landmark judgment, which also marked the advent of public interest litigation and widening in country's constitutional jurisprudence. Believing that his task for the independence of judiciary had remained unfinished, he decided to file and argue the case in the year 1993, again in his own name, directly in the Supreme Court, which came to be decided by 9-judges constitution bench in what came to be called the second judge's case. That decision remains till date the source and authority for the unique system and institution of collegium under the Constitution of India. He remains one of the most distinguished lawyers of the land, who is respected for his multifold contributions to the building and promotion of higher judicial institutions in the country. His contributions to the legal jurisprudence of the country can be seen from many cases. He remained popular among lawyers due to his humbleness and gentleness. He left for heavenly abode on 15th of January this year and is survived by his son, Shri Sunil Gupta, who is a senior advocate of this court, daughter Srimati Arunima Parolia, and their families. On a personal note, Sunil Gupta and I, we used to share chambers in the same block. Shri Bhaskar Prasad Gupta was born on the 11th of November 1940 into a family closely associated with the field of law for generations. His grandfather, practiced in the official courts of Bengal, which is now part of Bangladesh. His father, late Shri Sudhir Chandra Datta Gupta, was an officer of the Bengal Judicial Service, who after holding various posts as a judicial officer in the undivided Bengal, retired as the district judge of Howrah in West Bengal. His elder brother, late Shri Dipankar Datta Prasad Gupta, was an eminent barrister and senior advocate who went on to become the Advocate General of West Bengal and Solicitor General of India. Shri Bhaskar Prasad Gupta earned his bachelor's degree with honors in mathematics from St. Xavier's College, Kolkata. After graduation, he went to England for higher studies. He obtained his LLB degree from London University. He was called to the bar from Lincoln's Inn in the year 1964. On his return to India, he joined the chambers of Dr. Shankar Ghosh, who was an eminent lawyer practicing in the High Court of Calcutta and Supreme Court of India, and later served as the cabinet minister in the West Bengal and the central government. He made a mark primarily in civil, commercial, constitutional matters. In view of his excellence in the legal profession, he was designated as a senior advocate by the High Court of Calcutta in the year 1987. From the year 1998 onwards, he practiced exclusively before the Supreme Court, which struck the world in the year 2020. Bhaskar Prasad Gupta was my immediate next-door neighbor in Supreme Enclave, where we would see each other almost every day. He remained in touch with his parent High Court and even played an active role in the 150th year celebration of the High Court and was instrumental in the publication of the excellent commemorative volume published on that occasion. He mentored large number of lawyers in his own chambers, and some of his juniors include retired and sitting judges of various high courts as well as some senior advocates. In the emergency years and the following years, he appeared for statesmen in many matters relating to freedom of the press. In this process, he became close to the organization and contributed columns to the newspaper. He even participated in the statesman debate and served on the board of the newspaper for a while. Apart from his passion in the field of law, he had wide-ranging interests such as cricket, which he played in his youth, and Indian classical music. He was an active member of Calcutta's various clubs and served as president of Calcutta Club. He was a highly accomplished public speaker on diverse subjects. He was a man of scholarly and spiritual bent of mind. Knowledge of the writings of Swami Vivekananda and other eminent monks of the Ramakrishna Mutt and Mission. He was closely associated with Chaitanya Mission and Ramakrishna Mission. He was a member of the Committee for Restoration and Maintenance of Swami Vivekananda's ancestral home in Kolkata, and he was involved in its activities subsequent to its opening as an institution. He was an erudite lawyer who was always precise and focused in his submissions. He was a simple man to whom honesty was always the best policy. His intentions were always, in whatever he did as a legal professional or on the social front, noble, and he worked conscientiously, professionally in the courts and in various other community projects he was associated with. He left for heavenly abode on 23rd of January this year and is survived by his sons, Shri Rajdeep Gupta, who is an investment banker in London, Shri Shubhajit Gupta, who is a professor at the University of Washington at Seattle, and their families. My brother and sister judges join me in conveying our heartfelt condolences to the bereaved families, and we pray to the Almighty to give them strength to bear this irreparable loss with fortitude. May the departed souls rest in peace. May I now request you all to stand up and observe 2 minutes silence in memory of departed souls.
May I have your lordship's permission to conclude the proceeding with the court?
Yes, please. Thank you.